Hi, and welcome back to the Transform Wellness Clinic. I am Dr. Brad Perkins, and today I'm here to talk about how to read a food label. This is one of the most important skills when we're figuring out what to put into our body, because you remember, food is medicine. Food, for my definition, is something that's going to help build our body, help it make it work optimally. And then if it's not that, then it's not really food. It's just junk. We're not putting any type of fuel into our body to help build it or run our body. Our body is this amazing machine that works together. And if we don't have those right nutrients or we're putting in things that harm our nutrition or our gut health, then it really affects our overall health. It affects our mood, it affects our energy level. It can lead to brain fog, fatigue, all those things. So here is an example of a food label. One of the things I look at is starting with the serving size. So you want to look at how much the serving size in that package is, because that's where they start to mess with you, is the serving size. So you can see, like, if you buy a bag of chips or something, you may think the whole bag is, say, 230 calories, but that could be only for an eighth of a bag of chips. So if you ate the whole bag for some reason, it's actually 8 times 230, so that's 1,700 plus calories. So serving size is one of the first things. Calories, I don't pay too much attention to calories because I think it is a little less than a few other things. Calories are important overall, depending on what the breakdown of the food is, but that is actually a little bit on the lower of what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to look at a few different things, most importantly. One is going to be under fat. I'm going to look at saturated fat because we do want to make sure we're not taking in too much saturated fat. We do need some because it does help build our cell walls. So I try to make sure our foods are below that 5% range, maybe 10%, but low in saturated fat is 5%. Foods that are over 20%, you do want to start to think that maybe that's a little too much saturated fat. Again, it depends on what's going on with your health and what you're eating. So if you're eating a nice piece of grass-fed steak, then I'm not so much worried about the saturated fat. But if we're looking at ultra-processed foods, then staying away from the saturated fat, because whatever they're putting in there is bad for us. Trans fats is another thing. Truthfully, it's been removed from our food supply, so it's usually zero. Next thing I'm going to look at is all the way down at dietary fiber, because I do want to track how much fiber that we're eating, because the goal is somewhere between 35 to 40 grams of fiber. And added sugars. So if you look all the way down there, there's added sugars. 10 grams of added sugar in this example, that's 20% according to their recommendations. If you look at it, so somewhere between 25 to 50 grams of added sugar is what the World Health Organization recommends. I recommend trying to avoid added sugar as best as possible. But you want to make sure we're staying at least under 50 grams of added sugar. Like one soda is already over, or it might be around 38 grams of sugar just in one soda. So added sugars, this is the number one cause of our health issues in this country, in my opinion, is all the added sugars in our diet. Protein, that's another thing to look at, because protein is going to, is so important in building our body, like one of the videos we talked about. That protein goal and getting around 30 to 35 grams of protein each meal is so important. As far as the vitamin nutrient breakdown, it's there. It's not something I have my patients focus on right away. I'm looking at saturated fat and added sugars. And then the fiber content and the protein. Those are the 4 I really look at. But then you also want to look at that ingredients list. If they have these huge long lists of ingredients, probably not good for you. So you do want to look at foods that have less than 6 ingredients. You want to make sure sugar is not like one of the top 3 things added in there. There are so many different words for sugar they hide in there. So we're going to kind of talk about those. And then you're looking at different types of oils. So you don't want to see vegetable oils and ultra processed oils in your food. That's very inflammatory, high in omega-6s. So paying attention to what types of oils are being used. You want to pay attention to the sugar content and all these other words that are used for sugar. And here they are. There's 98 different names for sugar and hidden sugars. Huge long list. You can look this up. You can see there's a lot of brown sugar, agave, nectar, dextrose, dextrin, dextran, date sugar, grape sugar, maple sugar, molasses, muscovado sugar, sweet sorghum. Huge long list that you just kind of have to pay attention. And so you might not just see the word sugar, you might see all these other words. And the other thing, concentrated fruits, that's a way they throw in added sugar without saying there's added sugar. So you do want to pay attention to that. I hope this video is helpful for you, and I will talk to you soon.